Hello, everybody. I am at Malibu Creek State Park today, and some hints to where I am. I'm on the set of MASH, my favorite TV show. My parents and my cousin are here. My cousin hasn't seen MASH, so we'll have to show her the total episode. But what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about MASH, as someone who studies how narratives point towards our desire for God, MASH is my personal favorite example, one of the greatest examples, though I think Sleeping Beauty, I could probably get a lot, I think Sleeping Beauty is even better example than MASH, but I digress, and that's a whole nother topic for another day. I did a talk about MASH, which I will link in the description, a lot about its anti-war themes, and how that was a reaction to the Vietnam War and the TV coverage there. What I would like to talk to you today is the book, because I've actually read the book, and when you study how narrative points towards our desire for God, adaptation is an issue. I've had to deal with this with The Christmas Carol, and if I ever do a commentary on the best Christmas pageant ever, I'm going to have to do this, right? But the book MASH was actually not as anti-war as the show. It wasn't anti-war at all, actually. It was more just the antics of the doctors. There were no centralized story, just a bunch of vignettes, a few different stories and antics. What I would say about it thematically, and it is, I will say, if you want to read the book, it's really good. It's way more graphic with the surgeries and just so if you don't like graphic surgeries, because the author was an actual doctor in the Korean War, and the book was based on his experience. But really, the characters have changed. In the book, Blake was regular Army. He didn't like Hawkeye's shenanigans, but couldn't get Hawkeye in trouble. Hawkeye was not as motivated as tricking the Army system to change to save lives as the books. He really didn't have any problems with the Army system. Like I said, he more was just taking advantage of the fact that he get away with the rules, right? And I would say the book still captures the sting of death very well. There's a old chapter where they had heavy casualty for 2 straight weeks and had to work long hours, which is fairly realistic. But I would say the book has to deal with how crazy people can act from the sting of death. The foreword says that people acted in Korea ways they never would at home. And at the end of the book, when Hawkeye and Duke was a character cut of the show. He was in the movie, and the movie's just a condensed version of the book. But Hawkeye and Duke, when they're going home, they're at the Chicago airport parting ways. Hawkeye to Maine, Duke to Atlanta, and they stop acting like they do. And that's kind of the whole thing. Like, you put people in a death-filled environment, they react crazy. So like I said, that's what I would have to say about the book. And like I said, there's another book called, so the book was written by Richard Hooker. Was the pen name of Hester Hornberger. Like I said, he was an actual surgeon in the Korean War. There's another book called MASH. It's purely nonfiction, an actual account written by Otto Appel, which I should probably read. But deals a lot with the same stuff, right? Just how crazy people act in the sting of death, right? You know, so we see that Christ conquered the sting of death. We're able to go into all kinds of situations where we might feel the sting of death, be exposed to it heavily, but our hearts can be free and we don't have to do all kinds of crazy things to cope. So the book did have a lot of the poker, the drinking, doctors messing around with the nurses, and which was just realistic. But yeah, that's just what I have to say. I will link my original description. So remember, my original talk about MASH was before I read the book or saw the movie. So I'm just kind of basing on what I saw in the show, and this is just more of an update since I've read the book. But yeah, if you have any of any works of fiction that deal with that, just how, like, Cobra Kai is another good example, but just how people try to preserve themselves from the sting of death. Do let me know. I'd love to hear from you if you've noticed about what other fictional works you really see the heart of man and our desire for God for. I'm James Michael Tuttle, and if you've seen The Empty Tomb, you've seen the Father.